Hi, this is Arlene, and you're listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. Today, with me is an environmentalist for our ABC dialogue. He will be speaking about the environmental costs of aquaculture. We are going to revisit the iSHARP shrimp project, which was a popular issue back then, a few years back, when the government suggested to create a shrimp project so that they can scale up for productions in biosecure biofog modules. So welcome to the studio, Mr. Maketab Mohamed.
Sorry. I'm Professor Maketab Mohamed from the Malaysian Nature Society.
Mm-hmm. And you're also a professor with two universities.
Oh, only one.
Only one.
Universiti Teknologi Malaysia in Skudai. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how do you know about the shrimp project back then when the government wanted to create it? To boost production on it, the iSHARP.
Oh, basically, we were asked, myself and especially one of my former students now. Associate professor in UIAM in Gombak, is that we are part of the panel. We call it the expert panel of the detailed EIA, the detailed environmental impact assessment. So we are basically appointed by the Department of Environment to be part of the panel. Mm-hmm. And the whole process, follow the procedure as needed. And the project is basically given the green light. The only thing that I'll keep saying is that the discharge from the wastewater from the ponds when they operate, when they clean the ponds between operation, is that they should not be discharged into Sungai Chalok. Mm-hmm. It should be discharged direct to the sea. That's the main contention. And we were basically, after the EIA process, we were basically considered as a pro bono consultant to help the department to ensure that what's the impact on the Sungai Chalok if they discharge into Sungai Chalok, and how much is the impact. So we basically follow through with water quality modeling, some studies on the possible impact, and that later take us about 2 years or more. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of ding dong, because the company say, oh, no impact, and they hired 2 or 3 consultants saying.
Is it a Malaysian company?
A Malaysian company, basically, But
is it called the Blue Archipelago?
Blue Archipelago is the what I call it, the main company. Under that there will be Tabung Haji group, and then also state government, so also Khazanah is the main one. Khazanah is the main one. So it's basically I won't say it's a government-linked company, but basically the investors are basically government-linked organization like Tabung Haji and so on.
And the project is located at Setiu in the state of Terengganu.
Yeah, that's the northernmost district that nearly borders, other than Besut, near the Kelantan border. But the whole area is basically, there's one thing that I always regret that I cannot help to save. Basically, the area, they took 1,000 hectare, not acres, 1,000 hectare from the Stew wetland, basically. And those areas, pristine areas that are wetlands that have a lot of functions, and those, what we call, I would say, I would define it. I'm not a wetland expert or something, but we consider that as GLAM wetland, and that's one of the few places in the whole of the country that we still have GLAM, this GLAM forest.
I see.
GLAM is a native species, no special value or something, but it is unique to the coastal areas of Terengganu and Kelantan. Along the stretch of Terengganu and Kelantan, Bachok, Kelantan, and Pasir Putih, you have this. The only largest area that you have is still in Stew. In Kelantan and especially in Bachok, all gone already. A little bit of patches near Gong Kedah in Pasir Putih, but also nearly gone. So the only large area that we can still conserve as a wetland, I mean glam wetland, because we see wetland covers so much an area, but when we say glam wetland, then it is very, very specific. And the state government even want to consider that a state park, but until now there is no boundaries, there is no designation, no gazettement, so nearly nil, So interest, the land, always land is very important, So the site is one, it's good for the shrimp because it's close to the South China Sea, but also even in nearby Stew area, the land being converted into oil palm plantation. Although the soil is not good for anything.
I see.
Except what my grandmother used to say. Oh yeah, I mean they say, glam brace or glam forest is only good for say cashew nut and also the glam trees. That's all. Because cashew nut grows well in this sandy soil. But basically, the land cleared is 1,000 hectare, and the operation is such a way that maybe you know about this already. They have to pump from the sea 1 kilometer away to use the water as for the operation. From the sea.
For the aquaculture.
Aquaculture, yes. The issue is that when you say seawater, the salinity is about 35 ppt, part per thousand. And even that is a problem because the Sungai Chalok, Sungai Bari complex, I call it Sungai Balok, Sungai Bari, Sungai Stew complex, is that such a way that they have two estuaries. You don't find that kind of situation, So they have Kuala Sungai Stew and Kuala Sungai Merang. Okay? So when there is a tide, the water goes in and slow flows out, So that kind of flow create ecosystem that's different from everywhere else. And the thing is, the water, although there's a saline institution, they never get saline more than 5 ppt. What's worrisome? That one of the main contention that if the seawater that's being used for the operation to be used for the operation of the for the shrimp farm, it is discharged directly in Sungai Chalok, for sure the saline water will affect in the long run because salinity difference is so high.
I see.
For the highest of 5, the other one is 35.
But the companies that is in charge of this, including its partners or investors, would have known about this. Have they done anything?
Well, they knew, but basically this kind of thing, the consultant being the water quality consultant that being hired, they just try to please their employees or whoever hired them.
So they didn't tell the whole story.
They didn't want to tell, or they didn't understand the whole situation. They said, no problem, this will do that, and both myself and my friend, my colleague, and my former student, Professor Madya Dr. Zaki Zainuddin from UIM, we model. We use the same model. We use WAPS 6, the free model that in the internet given by the US EPA. I say, okay, use that model. We use the same model. Show it to us. And the model. They say, no problem. Give us the file. We check on them. They didn't even know how to run the whole thing. They disconnect the whole thing. No wonder there's no impact because the water is kind of not mixed and everything, So, okay, I'll show you what's going to happen. So we correct the whole model and show it to them. See the impact. So every day that they discharge the wastewater inside Sungai Chalok, always there's an increase in salinity. Keep going up and down and up and down. So we say, look, if you're gonna do this, salinity will increase. The other pollutant, organic, also will be there, but organic at least in the long run will decrease. Problem with salinity is that when it is saline, you don't reduce it. I mean, it is what we call conservative parameter.
I see.
So it will stay as it is. So through the years, as long as you are dumping the seawater into the sea, into the river, Sungai Chalok, Sungai Bari, and Sungai Stew complex, will increase on and on and on. And then the whole ecosystem will affect whatever habitat, whatever organism is in the water.
One thing that I want to highlight about the integrated shrimp aquaculture park, the word aquaculture itself, is it something that is that would degrade any any soil or land or any places that it is being cultivated? Because I think I read a lot of articles on aquaculture. There's a lot of criticism by environmentalists on its impact and to the ecology.
Oh yeah, basically the life cycle of a shrimp farm or something similar, whether it is in still wetland or whether it is in Langkawi or whether it is in somewhere in Phuket or something. Research have shown that their life cycle is lifespan is 5 to 10 years. That's all. Because the thing is the problem with disease. The term they use, I forgot what's the real cause. I think bacterial or a viral disease that they call a white disease. And after a while, whether you clean or not, or maybe one of the cause of this white disease is basically how they maintain the ponds. They didn't clean it well. So what happened is that after a while, then they have to abandon the ponds.
I see.
That means if they abandon, it's okay. I mean, they recover or something. But the modus operandi is such a way that abandon that, open some more next door. So if they in still wetland, after 10 years or 15 years at the most, then I say, let's get another piece of land, another 1,000 hectare. Then what going to happen to the old place? The problem in Malaysia, there is no requirement yet. I haven't seen yet. After the abandonment, it is recovered. Let's plant it back with glam or whatever the native species that were there before. And let it recover, replant, reforest, and then open another one. The same thing with shrimp farm inside mangrove forest. I've seen in Merbok, in Kedah, same thing. After you have problem, you abandon it. Nothing happened, just left like that. Let them grow by themselves. No, that will be too slow. If you're really serious in taking care of environment, I mean, together in sustainable way, then if you have problem, grow it back, But one thing about shrimp farm is that the profit is so high. They say, 5 years, no problem, make as much money as possible.
Why is higher than catching shrimp on a river or sea?
I think it's the way that you operate it is for sure you have something, I mean, in the first few years, you always will see that it's always there. You don't have to go out, and the probability of catching shrimp is not there. But you are in a pond, it's a lot easier. Basically, what you call it, money intensive and also labor intensive industry. But the return is good.
I see.
Because it's basically export to the US, especially.
Yeah.
Not only I've seen. If you go to the US, most of the shrimp that's whether tiger prawn or whatever species you have, white shrimp and so on, box like a 2 kilo box or something like that, usually made in Thailand or made in Panama or something like that. The market is there. That's for sure. Yes.
Okay. Regarding on aquaculture, prior to the iShrimp. The iSHARP project or the integrated shrimp aquaculture park, were there any mishap or incident happened that costed our environmental or ecological system?
The same thing I said before. The main problem is basically when you operate something like in enclosed system. The thing is you have to have what I call it to take care of the discharge, the wastewater. So that when they operate, when they say harvest the shrimp from the pond, after that you have to clean it up.
Yeah, but prior to the
iSHARP, I'm saying this is standard procedure.
Okay.
So the wastewater that's coming out for sure pollute whatever. And in the past, basically no treatment at all.
I see.
They're saying like in iSHARP, they're gonna treat the wastewater. Make sure that
they promise a more professional
they have professional,
handling.
There will be a wastewater treatment facility, and make sure that it complies with the law. But in the past, basically nothing. Whatever that's clean inside the pond, whether it is wastewater or the cleaning of the pond, they just discharge into the nearby waterway, basically the wetland or whatever. So that will cause impact. Other than the clearing of the forest itself. So basically wastewater and also the clearing and abandonment of the one that formerly forested area, that's the main problem we have. Not in Malaysia alone, in any aquaculture region.
I see.
In Thailand.
They also face such problem.
Vietnam, so same thing. Yeah.
So you've been to all these Southeast Asian countries and witnessed.
Not really. Thailand,
Thailand. Another point that I think is interesting that you mentioned was government agency that are involved in this iSHARP project. And I find it ironic. The Badan Tabung Haji is involved in this, and also Khazanah. Is there any rationale for them to be involved in such a project, especially has nothing to do with fisheries at all? I mean, it comes to what they are currently doing.
Depends on their KPI, which one's priority. Always making money is priority. When you say Tabung Haji, basically Muslim organization, and they should understand the impact of environment. And what I'm saying is that always in the Quran, and always we're saying that many places in the Quran are saying that Muslim are basically the Khalifa of this earth. The vice regent of the earth, saying you're supposed to take care of it. Somebody like so large like Tabung Haji, come on, you should know what's the impact going to be on the environment. And you should say, okay, and reland. When we say, the impact on the Sungai Chalok, Sungai Bari, and Sungai Stew complex is very high, at least, thank you for telling us, and we're going to build the discharge, pipe into the sea, back into the sea. But they keep fighting and fighting, say, no impact. We say, no, we know that's the impact, because we show our model. Remember, we are only, myself and my colleague, Professor Madya, Dr. Zaki Zainuddin, that's all, on the government side, helping the government. No pay, nothing. But they bring in three consultants to debunk us. We say, no, should we show our way? And the DOE believe us. And basically, finally, late last year, the decision is that build the pipe, bringing the the wastewater into the sea. And supposedly finished by July, but I haven't seen it yet. So that is, if there is discharging in the sea now, that's I would love to see that.
So the project is still ongoing, even though you are protesting against it. Even though you show all the data, how much ecological impact you will have, it will cause to our environment. I'm just wondering, like, why they never listen? Like, what is their aim anyway?
The DOE also gave them like temporary license to operate until they comply. So they cannot say, stop, not do anything. So DOE kind of try to take the middle ground, and you can discharge into Sungai Chalok for this short period of time. After that, you have to discharge to the sea. Actually, they ask permission to discharge during the rainy season. So the impact, they say, will be less. Although there be some impact, but at least the flow of the water from the wastewater together with the high amount of the flood water will take the wastewater into the sea. So the impact is supposed to be less. There'll be last rainy season. From November to December, January in 2014, early 2014,
Anyway, we will take a short break.
Okay.
So we will have more discussion after this.
Thank you.
Voice of sharing. Durian ASEAN.
Hi, this is Arlene. Welcome back again to Durian ASEAN. Together with me is Professor Dr. Maketab Mohamed. We discussed earlier a lot of areas regarding on the aquaculture in the area of Terengganu, where they are going to perform the iSHARP project, which is about an integrated aquaculture park for shrimp breeding. I want to know about what were the promise by this company together with their investors on ensuring the shrimp project will go on smoothly without any damages to the environment. What were the promises?
Basically, when you say a promise, is the report that we call a study and the report that we call the detailed environmental impact assessment. That was done 5 years ago. Like a standard detail EIA. A lot of experts is involved. They study all the pertaining issues. They see whether what's the flora in there, what's the fauna, water quality, and all that, hydrology, and they kind of predict the impact. And for sure there will be impact, and predict the impact, and say, oh, okay, there'll be some impact, and how are we going to mitigate the impact? That if you say that's a promise, that the promise, how do they want to mitigate the impact? One of the things that's other than the wastewater coming out, which they didn't really predict as needed, and the impact, the mitigation also not as needed until we push them to discharge back to the South China Sea. The other one will be the impact on the hydrology itself. Actually, a lot of floods happen after they built the shrimp farm, after they cleared the area. A lot of floods are happening in the area, and the places, the villagers say places that not flooded before occurred. As you might know that a wetland usually mitigates flood if it is allowed to function. That means it's not cleared for anything, it's not cleared for agriculture. Allow still wetland when the water coming during the rainy season, musim tengkujuh. The wetland will retain the water, will absorb it to the ground, into the groundwater system. That is the function. And it seems that after they cleared 1,000 hectare, the function kind of missed. Didn't happen anymore. That's why the floods. So there's some promise that not really carried out by the project people. Yeah.
This project has been go on since 2009, and a lot of protests happened during that time in 2009. But what about now? It seems to be a long silence, and a lot of people do not even aware of this iSHARP project or its environmental impact via aquaculture. What is your next step, as the president of Malaysia Nature Society, to highlight this issue and to make the government accountable? Are you going to bring this to the law, or are you going to somehow highlight it, make it a huge awareness campaign?
To say that people does not know, maybe more of the people outside of the area. People within Stew area, all the nearby villages, if you talk to them, they kind of more of silent voices. Fishermen inside Sungai Chalok, when I talk to them, because during the detailed EIA study, I was with them. They showed me how they fish especially during the when the sea was rough during the rainy season, and they showed me what kind of traps they use, and they say now nothing. There's no more. They cannot even fish in there, because even when we are saying that we are discharging into the sea, there was maybe some wastewater getting into the Sungai Chalok and all that, and basically whatever shrimp that was there the wild shrimp that being caught by the local fishermen, not there anymore. So the impact are there other than the floods, and the locals also knew that they cannot get the same kind of wild shrimp that they can catch in the past. So the only thing is not in the national media, that's all. So as of on our side, the Malaysian Nature Society, I would say that Malaysian Nature Society always wants to protect any kind of wetland, especially such an iconic wetland as the Stew wetland, because like I said before, it's it won't be there everybody taking one chunk for shrimp farm, one chunk for agriculture. Even some areas they're growing say I've seen vegetable. In the long run, the whole place will be gone. One of the things that Malaysian Nature Society want to push for, and with the hope, especially with the state government of Terengganu and also with the local public universities such as the UNIZA and UMT, because they had a lot of researchers going in there, is that we want to put boundaries. Boundaries in the area that what we want to call still wetland state park, something like that. They have vision for that for many years, even before the shrimp farm. But the political willingness to go in and put the boundary and gazette it. You have, because those areas are basically state land. You have need gazettement from the government, the Dewan Undangan Negeri. The state assembly must say, oh, okay, we gazette the area, put the boundaries, finance it somehow, and that will become more permanent. As long as you don't gazette it, anything goes. Someone from the nearby village say, oh, I want a chunk of this Gelam land, given. Slowly become fragmented. The fragmentation will continue, and we're gonna lose it every day. And maybe although we declare it a state park in the future, if you don't do it right now, most of them will be gone then. And that's the main point that we would say that, because like I said before, a little bit earlier, that not only the shrimp farm is operating inside there. There was some oil palm. There was also at the same time one area being cleared for some kind of paddy field. All this really incompatible in that kind of wetland.
Finally, I think what we are not aware of, that you're actually having a press conference this Friday.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you can highlight, what are the key aim of this press conference.
Yeah. On the 15th of August at the Malaysian Nature Society at 10 a.m., we're going to have a press conference to highlight the sturgeon project in Kuala Tahan. The project will be under FELDA, the finance from FELDA, with South Korean technology. Basically, they try to bring in a species of sturgeon. The name is Asipenser berrii. Basically, what I call it, Siberian sturgeon, to be reared for the eggs, for the caviar. One thing that must be known, although people say, oh, so we can give special permit, is that it is against our Fisheries Act of 1985 to bring in some species, including the Asipenser species. So I don't know. Somehow the Department of Fisheries giving them special permit to bring in to be reared inside ponds. But what's more worrisome is that it's just next to Taman Negara. That I've been trying to raise. Yeah, next to Taman Negara, and they say, oh, there will be no possible release. Come on, they're not God. They cannot say, oh, there's no possible release, accidental release.
Yeah, it's funny because people get overreacting when it comes to race or religious issue. You can see, like, when someone make a racist remark or someone did something that is considered taboo or against religion, somehow the people would just react it immediately via social media, the press, or even a protest. But when it comes to environmental impact issue, it seems to be very quiet, even though,
basically Malaysian are still our Malaysian awareness on environment still lacking. Basically, that's the thing. They don't really know the impact. They tend to make jokes about it instead of talking about it seriously. This kind of impact, basically, the why we are so much against is just next to Taman Negara at Kuala Tahan. The whatever fish that the sturgeon that might escape will get into Sungai Tembeling. Will go upstream on Sungai Tahan, Sungai Kenyam, and will affect the kelah in Sungai Tahan or the temoleh in Sungai Tembeling. Basically, these two species, temoleh and kelah, is basically our iconic species. We don't even really care that this problem gonna happen. Why is that? Basically because the setup of the project, FELDA, government linked company, state government of Pahang also agreeable to the project, and it is under ECER. And when you say NCER, is basically above that will be the NCER under PM's department.
I see.
I say, why there is no feasibility study? Why there is no environmental impact assessment? I say, oh, it is very small area. I say, the issue is because the sensitivity of the area, although small, but because sensitivity, you need a detailed EIA. Or they say, as long as the project is under PM's department, everything is okay. Huh? PM's department above the law or something like that. I know they really, I mean, that's what discussion on the in the Facebook. But the issue is that before they start the project in such a sensitive area, you need at least a feasibility study. The best is to have the detailed EIA, and you have to ask the public, the Kolatahan community, because there is no FELDA scheme at Kolatahan. So the one that against the project, other MNS as part of the biodiversity, is that the people of Kolatahan say the project will affect their community because most of them rely on the Sungai Tahan, Sungai Tembling as part of their ecosystem, the ecotourism, guiding or things like that. They bring in foreign tourists, go up the river, go up Tahan, hiking in the Taman Negara. So what they were worried is that the whole setup of the sturgeon will affect.
I see.
Their in the long run, whatever they do to cari makan,
So regarding on the press conference, which is on Friday, can the public is allowed to go, right?
Well,
is it open to public?
Not really the public. We are asking the media.
The media.
Go, yes, to come in, and we already contacted them yesterday, and I think we already confirmed their presence. And we're gonna have people from Kuala Tahan coming in together with MNS Pahang representative, one or two of them. And later also, other than the project, the Sturgeon project press conference, later we're gonna have a meeting of all the nature NGOs at 11:30 to discuss what next, because we have seen that forests everywhere, especially state forests, are being cleared like crazy, being logged like crazy. That affecting not only the balance of flora and fauna, the habitat, but at the same time affecting the hydrology, our water resources, because a lot of this logging happen upstream. The latest one, what we some of them are worried is that two of the waterfalls, iconic waterfall in Pahang, Jerangkang and Berkelah, upstream, they're gonna clear. They already given a permit.
I see.
So they're worried that you don't have to be a hydrologist or rocket scientist to figure out if some logging happen upstream of waterfall, what's gonna happen to the waterfall during the rainy season.
So anyway, thank you very much.
Sure.
Just want to highlight again, the press conference will be on Friday at what time?
10 a.m.
At 10 a.m. and it will be at
the Malaysian Nature Society.
It will be
HQ.
at the HQ, which is at
Jalan Kelantan.
Jalan Kelantan.
Yeah.
So for all our audience and our listeners, we really hope that you can help to highlight this problem and create more awareness on the importance to conserve our environment.
Very good.
With that, thank you very much.
Thank you.